Well, I made a good portion of this video a moment ago, and then I got rambling a little bit and realized Ava and I went through the trouble. We're in the midst of making a McDonald family calendar.
I'm in the midst of making it.
Well, you are making it, yes. I'm helping. We are making it. It's a collaboration.
I'm leaving.
No, I've been telling you what to put in. You've been typing it in there. So that in literal terms, it's a collaboration.
I give you 25%.
No, it's 50 straight up.
25.
So without my information, it would be an incorrect calendar.
No, but
so
I had
it's
to
at least
put in
50.
all of Ollie's baseball stuff.
What does that matter? I had to put in all mine. I had to tell you which one. It's a collaboration. Anyway, Ava and I are still here. I gave her the option to stay at home tonight or come with me. She chose me, which is good. We are going to get home a little late now. We wake up tomorrow, go to Ontario. We're there in the morning. I told Curtis I would go and do the twos in training video with him around 1 o'clock or so. And then all of us are going to go out to lunch. And then Ollie has a baseball game in Simcoe, if I'm not mistaken. Simcoe is down closer to the border in Niagara Falls. After the game, Ava and I will head towards the Meadows Monday evening, and Amy will head back to Guelph. Tuesday morning, I'm going to school 5 of our babies at the Meadows. Ava's going to be with me. And then Tuesday afternoon, come home. We have no racing on Tuesday night, by the way. I booked off Monday night to go to Ollie's baseball game. So we have 2 horses in here. I'm not driving either. Tyler's going to drive those. Tuesday night, we have no racing. So, yep. So I don't have to do anything until Wednesday morning. I don't know how busy we're going to get here at the barn Wednesday morning, but Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, both races in the Meadows and Northfield. Now, that sounds like a busy schedule, but that is a drop in the bucket of my schedule moving forward. So Ava and I, in the collaborative sense, made a calendar for our family because we really just have to know where I have to be, where Ollie has to be, where Amy, Ava, Addie everybody has to be, so that we can find small gaps or we can do stuff together. I wanted to get down to Nashville with the kids around the 23rd, which is when all the horses will be racing. I almost said Jailbird Jog's name. I mean, I haven't made up my mind completely, but I think Jailbird Jog, Xena Kemp, Degas. And here's the thing, is that if we have like 5 fillies to bring down there, well, maybe I will send Jailbird to New Jersey. I haven't made my mind up yet, but in my heart of hearts, I believe that she should go to Kentucky and steer clear of New Jersey right away. It has nothing to do with speed. She is probably one of the fastest 2-year-old fillies we've ever had. And that's saying a lot because we've had a couple of pretty decent ones. But I think if she's going to end up in Lexington anyway, do we really need to go to New Jersey? I guess is what I'm getting at. So a number of things, I found out a lot of things about the horses and where they're eligible tonight too on that calendar. So Ava and I are making the calendar. We're going to work it all out. As I said, I'd like to get stuff done with my family this summer, and the only way to do that is to find these little gaps. And then when we see these little gaps, find out what's going on wherever, whether it be a baseball game or a music concert. We found Mumford & Sons was playing by our place on the 18th. So I'm going to, try and just find these little gaps where I can fit our family in for the summer. So it's important. So that's what we're doing over the next 24 hours. Now, in regards to tonight, we had 4 horses race. I'll start off with Viamid. He was terrible tonight. He's not usually like that. Now, they did put him on the list. I spoke to the vet after. She's a really nice lady. She said, Anthony, missed the gate by a million lengths. He was rough looking, the post parade. She goes, I almost came out to talk to you about scratching him, but it seemed like he was okay. She goes, it would be hard for me not to put him on the list. So she put him on the list for 8 days. It doesn't really matter. He'll race next Wednesday anyway. So I'm not too concerned about it. And I would suspect he might have tied up a little bit, or maybe his feet were hurting him a little bit. But he's had days where his feet were stinging him, and he still raced rather well. Today he just wasn't good. It was really hard for me to get him. If you watch the whole race, after the quarter pole, I got him going. But that's how he is before the race. And then usually as you turn him and go to the gate, he's fine. Well, that wasn't the case tonight. So did he tie up a little bit this week? And maybe you saw some of that residual tie-up that played a real negative role in the post parade? I'm really not sure. I thought maybe the blacksmith had cut all his feet. But again, Enos knows better than to do that with this horse. So I don't think it was that. I think we probably should just draw blood tomorrow and see what it isn't, so we can be sure of what it was. But he's not lame. I know it's frustrating. It's kind of a little embarrassing, honestly, when somebody puts a horse on the list like that. I understand where the vet is coming from. There was no argument in that regard. But I also know that there is zero lameness with this horse. So regardless if it was sickness, lameness, or just poor performance, he won't be able to race for a week. But we all know how that goes anyway. He wasn't going to get in before Wednesday, if we're looking at it in a historical sense. So that was the conclusion of any of our horses racing bad tonight. They all raced great. Now Spitfire Overseas, I believe I'd said earlier in the video I originally started, I think I undercooked him. What I meant was I wasn't hard enough on him. It's just so hard to get a handle on Spitfire Overseas. It seems like every venue he goes to, he's a little bit different. I don't know any other horse like him in my life. Now at the Meadows, he's good, but in the turns is where he's weak. You got to kind of just leave him alone in the turns and let him do his work. Well, at Northfield, he does his best work in the turns. You got to leave him alone a little bit in the straightaways. You know, I think if you watch the race where I go to catch up to Ryan Stahl in the last turn, and then I just let him settle on his helmet for a second, if I don't do that, if I just file him right and let him trot forward, I'm a winner for sure. I'm 1,000% sure I am. But at the time, I had to remember that time he made a break on me coming out of the last turn at Miami Valley? Remember that time he made a break on Jody coming out of that last turn at Mohawk? Why don't we just go easy? Because it looks like we're probably going to be a winner here. And he just wasn't. Now, the Keys horse of Ryan's is no joke. I saw the board going to the gate, and I'm like, I couldn't figure out who was 9-1 beside me. I said, I thought that was probably the horse to beat, was the Keys horse. Well, I'll tell you what, Spitfire Overseas feels like he wants to leave now, too. I've never seen a horse transform venue to venue like him. I really can't explain it. You're going to see him on the front one of these days at Northfield. And it's nice that he's found a spot in the open trot. He raced great tonight. As I said, I think there's that small little portion of the race where I was catching up to Ryan. I should have just kept filing him right and let him sail, and I think for sure I get up to win the Open. But listen, the horse raced great to be second. I was really, really pleased with Spitfire Overseas. Now, greatest ending, I knew that I was going to end up on the front. I knew Ronnie was probably going to stretch me. I knew I was going to get a breather. Down the back stretch, he's on the left line a little bit, around the last turn. I know Ronnie's moving now. I thought that Ronnie would go left. By going right, he put me in a bad spot because I'm sure he's too smart to know this horse doesn't run out. He knows he runs out. But I was going to take him for a hot dog anyway the whole way down the lane. I was going to let him drift a little bit. But halfway around the tote board, he started getting on the left line even harder. And then I hooked Ronnie's wheel to wire. I know a lot of people messaged me, said, oh, that was a bullshit placing. Oh, you shouldn't have been placed. Yeah, I should have. I hooked his wheel. And although where I hooked his wheel probably didn't cost him the win, about 15 feet before that where I carried him, that probably cost him the win. And listen, here's my feeling on it. It's as simple as this. Regardless of what you think of the drifting or the whatnot, if he goes to the inside, I think he beats him. So, first place second or second fair and square, it doesn't matter. He was second best tonight. I looked down, there's blood on my suit. He did pop a quarter crack left front at some point. It's like a split in your finger. It's painful. It can be pretty painful. He's done it a lot of times, though. And I bet you I know where he did it. I watched the replay. I didn't know what he was doing. Halfway down the backstretch, it's very rare. He just throws his head. And a horse will never do that going that kind of speed. Ever. But he does it so effortlessly. It's almost like he's in third or fourth gear all the time. And you can see him. Watch the replay. Halfway down the backstretch, you see him throw his head for no reason. And I don't know, some horses, when you shut their air off or they displace, they'll do that. And he will do that from time to time. I'm not so sure that he maybe just didn't pop that quarter crack right there and it bit him a little bit. Now, the fact that he's popped probably 4.2 million quarter cracks in his life, although the feeling was familiar, it probably stung for a second also. Maybe that's why he threw his head. And then down the lane, you would think he would have drifted the whole way down the lane, though. Either way, it doesn't matter. He was first place second, and I can't argue with the placing. if Ronnie had drifted me and he had hooked my wheel to wire, I mean, I'm not going to run to the phone, but I would have been pretty disappointed that they didn't place me. So, greatest inning raced great though. You know, half and 57 a mile, 53 and 4. He's up in class. The horse is racing well. I would have to believe that we have to give him a week off now with that quarter crack. I thought maybe he grabbed his foot at the wire. You can see the little line. Now, it wasn't this big, fissure that opened up in his hairline. So it wasn't that. But there's definitely a line, a lateral line, and then one going up into the hairline. So we just got to clean that up a little bit, have the blacksmith pare it out just ever so slightly tomorrow. Don't get clever with it. Just take the pressure off it, pare it out, take care of it for a week, and maybe skip a week with him. I think that's probably what we should do. Jason has this horse racing great right now. And listen, I like the appraise. I was a little angry after the Viamid race. I don't like to see our horses look inferior. If you make a break or they're just not good that night, that's fine. But with Viamid, this is very important, and this is why I really maybe overreacted a little bit, because there's only two Viamids. There's only two. There's no variation. There is one that is functioning and good, and there is one that is terrible. There is no variation in between. There's not a scale, right? There's not a spectrum. Well, he was okay tonight. No, he was good or he was terrible. And that's kind of how Viamid is. And he was terrible tonight. So we just have to make sure that we keep a handle on him going into each race, right? And he's not problematic, but knowing that there's only those two forms of the horse, you really have to be on top of everything. Vet work-wise, is he comfortable? Is he happy? Did he train good this week? Am I confident he did not tie up this week? These are things you just have to ask yourself. On the other side of that coin, Lauren, Jason, Carrie, everybody, that Spitfire Overseas was tremendously good tonight, and so was Greatest Ending. Both horses were great, and quite frankly, Neptune raced good. He's an easy horse to dislike sometimes because he does have some bad habits. Ripped a shoe off the post-parade. And usually I would say to the groom, sister, you have to check the shoes. But they did. I could hear him chewing at his shoes in the post-parade, prancing around and being a goof. And he jumped up and ripped his shoe off. I know he did it. It was him. But he raced good. We've put the shoe back on, come off the car. The problem was he gets on that left line coming out of the turns. I knew I was going to have a tough time getting him down in there. If I'd have been able to go right, he wins easily. But I did have a tough time I took a good third of the passing lane just to get him settled. I can't just rip him down in there because he's going to catch a shoe, rip it off, maybe make a break. So you got to kind of do your best to finesse him down in there like a trotter. And once I got him down in there, he did advance. But he just couldn't get there. And, I watched the replay, and I know there's going to be people look at it and say he should have won that race. I felt he raced pretty good, all things considered. So, I mean, just an absolutely tremendous weekend for us. You start on Friday, you had that horrible weather, Grand Slam deal, jogs, looks like Money raced good, Yo Mister raced good, and Delicious Stone coming off a qualifier and some foot issues. Tenacious Hanover won, Patrick de Pirano won, Trosa coming back off, trying to figure out, if we're going to be able to race in this summer. Under scope, infinitely better. So we're on the right path. Another clunker, Rose Run AJ. You guys are starting to see the trends, right? When the horses trend in that cowardly direction, you always end up with this place in their lines where they're terrible. And I think Rose Run AJ has just entered that. We need to find a spot where we can race him consistently, confidently, and have the horse doing well. And 8-hole out the whole way is not the way to do it. This guy cannot take air. So not for a quarter, not for 3/8, not for 5/8, and most definitely not for the entire mile. So we got to draw better, have him better, and get a tidier steer. It's just, he's a tough horse to drive too because he's hard on himself. So we'll see how he does next week or the week after. Mounts for All, raced great. Rose Run Alexander, raced great. Those horses are in the sale tomorrow. We'll be watching that very, very closely. Time is on my side. Raced huge mile from him. We just worked on his schedule tonight. He's going to have a tough middle of June through June 12th. I think he's going to have 5 starts in 4.5 weeks. So it's not going to be easy for him. After that, July the 12th, he's off until September. I'm going to give him 3 weeks off, 3 weeks back. He always responds well when he gets a short break. So the schedule actually works out really well for him. When he's done July 12th, he'll return from the East Coast. We'll likely prep him once at the Meadows, and then he'll go to Scioto for the Ewart. He'll go to the Dayton Derby, and then off to the Breeders' Crown. And that's what the rest of the season, for the most part, looks like for Time Is On My Side. He's going to spend the bulk of the summer on the East Coast. So that's what will happen there. And then we go to tonight. One clunker, one per day, it seems like. Delicious Stone on Friday, Rose Run AJ on Saturday, and Viamid on Sunday. One clunker out of the whole crew each day. Spitfire race tremendous. Greatest Ending race tremendous. And Neptune race very, very good also. So a great ending to a very strong week here at the stable. But it all starts to get really cool now, right? Now we're into June. Now the qualifiers for the babies are coming. Schoolers Tuesday. First wave of qualifiers, I've been told, will be in Ontario on the 6th and 7th, Friday and Saturday. Now, I just got a message from Tim saying we don't have anything to enter on Friday. Is that so? I can make an appearance in Mohawk on Friday morning if I'm needed. We'll see what James wants to do with the horses in that regard. I know that Ollie plays baseball Friday night, you said? Mm-hmm. Friday night in Ontario? Might be over there for Friday. Back here Saturday, we have the Meadows Saturday afternoon. And then Sunday, I have to race Arrowhead Hanover and Manhattan Money in the Poconos. But as I said, this is where it starts to get cool. The 2-year-olds are getting ready. We'll have our qualifiers, Schoolers Tuesday at the Meadows, qualifiers Friday. We'll have somewhere between, I think, 12 and 14 horses to qualify of our own on Tuesday, following Tuesday, the 10th in the Meadows. Then 12 days later, it's our open house. We'll have another 25 or so to qualify. Really happy. Really happy with the way the week went at the track. Happy with tonight. Happy with the way everything has progressed over the vast majority of the month of May into June. June's here. It's a great start to the month. I hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend. I will talk to you all tomorrow at some point. Take care.